Welcome back to Business Week here on Arise News. I'm joined now by Ifeanyi, Ubah, Head Investment Research Commercial Partners, to review some of our top stories in more detail. Welcome to the show, Ifeanyi. Great to have you on the show. So you've chosen to talk about Binance, and the Binance CEO, Richard Teng, is saying that Donald Trump has been great for cryptocurrency. Why has he been great for cryptocurrency?
Okay, definitely. So thank you for having me again. So Donald Trump, which is pro-US policies and pro-dollar, has seemingly taken a shift and started pushing for cryptocurrencies. And this is because of his greater plan for making the US an export giant and bringing production back to the country. So for you to make US goods competitive externally, you need to start reducing the value of the dollar. So in essence, to reduce the DXY in terms of the US trading partners. Right now, the DXY is slightly above the
DXY?
100. Yes, the DXY is an index that tracks the US dollar compared to a basket of its trading partners like Japan and Canada and the likes. So right now, it's slightly above the 100 region, right? So what Trump is trying to do is to try to reduce the power of the dollar in order to give it...
So how does supporting cryptocurrency platforms help him achieve that? Is it just holding more reserves in cryptocurrency versus the actual dollar?
Beautiful. So immediately you're reducing the demand for the dollar. That demand has to trickle down to other parts. So on a normal day, it will trickle down to other currencies like the euro or so other currencies. In order to not have that, he is trying to open up the cryptocurrency platform so we could have capital flow into US-backed cryptocurrency and still increase the value of the US economy by still maintaining the dollar competitive power as US hegemony. So Donald Trump is always looked as a clown, but he's smarter than what people proclaim.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective because there was some news a few weeks earlier about the US building up its strategic reserves of Bitcoin and other cryptos, which I think we saw in initial market reaction. There was an appreciation. So, I mean, what do you think this move will have on the long-term trend for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others?
Yeah, this is definitely positive for the long-term trend, but it doesn't mean that you should buy crypto now and expecting a 30% move in the next 3 months, because crypto is a risky asset.
It's highly volatile.
Exactly. Yes. And the general market sentiment is still bearish. So we still see flights to safety assets in this kind of market conditions.
Of course. And, you know, we've seen that already with cryptocurrency historically. But this probably means that perhaps the regulatory onslaught we saw against crypto in previous years may actually moderate now, since the American government is fully now behind many of these platforms. Okay, Chinese car manufacturer BYD has seen a 40% increase in sales, battery electric and hybrid vehicles last year. What does this tell us, if anything, first of all, about China and also then the global EV market?
So BYD is definitely topping the global EV market in terms of performance and efficiency. So they're not just releasing the best and the fastest cars, they're releasing them cheaper, and their efficiency is becoming superb. I think their latest breakthrough is trying to get a fast charging to almost as equivalent as getting a full tank in 5 minutes. So,
really?
Yeah, so they have massive technological breakthroughs, and even Elon Musk has been praising them about how superior their cars have been. So they have actually increased their exportation by 70%, which has increased their bottom line by 10%. So it shows you that the world is actually moving, and BYD is taking it on their backs to push this EV revolution. To me, it was an interesting buy when Warren Buffett took in heavy with them, but apparently he's paying, so we should
I mean, if Warren Buffett is heavily vested in that, then he clearly says something.
Definitely.
But I want to ask you, I mean, electric vehicle sales by BYD gone up. Two things here: tariffs, Chinese company. You know, when I put those two together, I'm thinking, how long will that kind of upside last, giving Trump's imposition of tariffs on China? April 2nd, we're going to see another raft of tariffs. Will this affect the global EV market and Chinese sales specifically?
Yeah, so like we'll definitely see the global EV market take a hit because of these tariffs, right? So, but we are seeing that China has been creating a market outside the US market and has been expanding. So even if the tariffs will have an initial shock, I still feel the resilience of all these companies would outweigh the initial drawdown.
Yeah. Interesting. This third story suggests that Americans may be negatively perceiving the impact of the imposition of tariffs. So there was a measurement of consumer confidence. The conference board in the US said there was a 7.2 points drop in consumer confidence. Is this primarily as a result of the perception of tariffs, or is there something else going on in the American economy that may not be so obvious?
Okay, so it's primarily because of the way we look at economics. So once economic policies come into play, the rule of ceteris paribus is thrown away.
All things being equal.
Yes, so economic agents start acting without waiting for the impact or the tariffs to even come into play. We have seen this from the producers. We have seen trade deficits skyrocket to over 30 billion. When you compare it to the first tariff, it was around 140 billion in the first month, but now we're averaging 150 billion. This is producers anticipating the high increase in prices and ordering supplies ahead of these prices. So we expect consumers to also adjust. If they're expecting things to get worse, they might be changing their consumption pattern.
And that may impact demand, which may lead to inflation.
So you will not see anybody planning to maybe change their car soon, and this is what actually boosts the consumer confidence.
Yeah, consumers are not the only one worried. Everybody is talking. I mean, the European Central Bank has got its knickers in a twist over Donald Trump's tariffs.
Definitely.
You know, it's really concerned about this, and the governor of the National Bank of Belgium said it would be bad for growth. I can think of a million other things that would be bad for growth in the EU. Why so much focus on these US tariffs?
So the EU was supposed to come into their rate cutting season, and rate cutting season is expected to stimulate growth.
Yeah.
But now they might have a reversal in that policy because what is facing them is stagflation.
Yes.
Not just inflation, but slowing down growth.
Yeah.
So they will need to just oppose these measures and come up with something that would be able to safeguard them from the downside and give them the highest upside.
Yeah, I've been following EU economics and monetary union and politics for quite a while, and it seems like some of the major geopolitical and economic blocs around the world are entering a period of major seismic shifts in their policy, in the economic policy spectrum. All of their plans may be jettisoned now because of the tariff issue. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. I want us to end on Nigeria. Cardoso has confidently said that the government's economic policies, the CBN's economic policies, are now yielding fruit. Do you agree? And tell us why.
So after the rebasing of the Nigeria's CPI, we have seen that the month-on-month data has been trending downwards. So one thing that the rebasing actually does is recalibrate and gives us a true perspective of what we're actually checking. So one thing that is peculiar is that the choice of the base here was a place where we had some economic shocks in terms of, a high inflation and, releasing the exchange rates so it's more flexible. So eventually, if you're looking into 2025, you don't expect your landlord to say we are increasing your rent 100%.
Yeah.
So any other increase you see compared to last year is going to be infinitesimal. So we'll see inflation trending downwards, giving the CBN the onus to start cutting rates and boosting growth.
Yeah, and I want to draw you a bit on that inflation trajectory. Where do you realistically think we will land at the end of 2025, given the current figures?
So we still put our estimation around 20%.
Okay. 20% is pretty good, huh?
Yes,
it's pretty good. It's not that, that I think that's good compared to some other estimates. So, I mean, look, Cardoso has said this very publicly, and I think the CBN probably thinks long-term in terms of the impact. There's often a time lag between when policies are enacted and then the impact they have. So it's probably looking at the long term and saying, actually, we're on the right track, which is also key to boosting investor confidence. So, I mean, all the best to the CBN and all the various other economic policymakers. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Dr. Ifeanyi Ubah of Commercial Partners, Head of Investment Research. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me.